Hare Krishna. Welcome to the Srimad Bhagavatam topics in Srimad Bhagavatam class. And today is the 11th of September, 9/11/2021. So yeah, believe it or not, it's been 20 years since the 9/11 attacks. Sober day. So let's keep in mind all the souls that lost their lives 20 years ago and pray that there is peace and harmony in the world. Let's start with Mangalacharan prayers, then we will start with the invocation prayers of Srimad Bhagavatam. So everybody can hear, okay? Can anyone confirm? Audio is good?
Yes.
Yes, Prabhu.
Okay, awesome. Excellent. So let's get started with the Mangalacharan prayers. And also in a couple of days, which is Monday, we are going to be celebrating Radhashtami festival. It's one of the sweetest festivals, not the most sort of important ones from the standpoint of importance. Janmashtami is the most important. Gaura Purnima is very important, the appearance of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But Radhashtami is very, very sweet because it is the appearance day of Shreemati Radharani. And we will, if time permits, we will just, discuss a little bit about Shreemati Radharani and her qualities. Not a whole lot because, I'm not qualified to speak about Shreemati Radharani. So with that, let us do the Mangalacharan prayers. And I thought we will do the long version today. I was just thinking about it and we haven't done the long version in a while. So let us do the long version. And I have a set of slides for the long version. So we will do the long Mangalacharan. And yeah. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Desha Tarine Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Iti Namine Shri Varshabhanavi Devi Daitaya Kripabdhe Krishna Sambandha Vijnana Daine Prabhave Namaha Madhuryojjvala Premadhya Shri Rupanuga Bhaktida Shri Gaura Karuna Shakti Vigrahaya Namostute Namaste Gauravani Shri Murtaye Dinatarine Rupanuga Viruddhapa Siddhanta Dvanta Harine Namo Gaura Kishoraya Sakshat Vairagya Murtaye Vipralambha Rasambodhe Padambhujaya Te Namaha Namo Bhakti Vinodaya Satchidananda Namine Gaura Shakti Swarupaya Rupanuga Varayate Gauravirbhava Bhumestvam Nirdesha Sajjana Priya Vaishnava Sarvabhauma Shri Jagannathaya Te Namaha Vanchakalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gaura Tvishe Namaha Panchatattvatmakam Krishnam Bhaktarupa Swarupakam Bhaktavataram Bhaktakyam Namami Bhakta Shaktikam He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Jayatam Surato Pangor Mamamandir Matir Gati Matsarvaswa Param Padam Bhojo Radha Madana Mohano Divyad Vrindaranya Kalpadhrumadaha Srimad Ratnagara Simhasanastho Srimad Radha Srila Govinda Deva Preshthalibi Sevyamano Smarami Shriman Rasarasarambhi Vamshivata Tatasthitaha Karshanvenu Swanair Gopir Gopinathaya Shriyestu Namaha Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shrivas Adi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. So today we covered the long version of the Mangalacharan prayers. We may do that from time to time, and maybe sometime we will go over the exact meanings, translations, significance of each of the mantras. We have done that from time to time already. So every 6 months or so, it's nice to cover what each of these mantras mean and who is it glorifying and what is the purpose, but not today. So that is the Mangalacharan prayers. Now the Srimad Bhagavatam invocation verses. So we will recite these verses. These are our very famous, very worshipable pictures of Sukadeva Gosvami and Parikshit Maharaj, and then Suta Goswami and the sages of Naimisharanya. And now the invocation verses for Srimad Bhagavatam. If possible, please unmute and repeat after me. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Mudirayet Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shlokir Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtaki Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nandagopa Kumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha. All right, so thank you everybody for joining and giving me this chance to read, contemplate, and share a little bit of the understanding that I have of this very, very wonderful, beautiful pastime of Bali Maharaj and Lord Vāmanadeva. So you might have seen on this slide, I have put Bali Maharaj first and Lord Vāmanadeva second. 100% of Srimad Bhagavatam is more about the devotees of the Lord than the Lord himself. There is no other Purana that is of this nature. That's why this is known as Bhagavata Purana. Bhagavat Purana means those who are Bhagavats, those who are the devotees of the Lord. It can also be understood as Bhagavat Purana as the Purana of Lord Shri Krishna, which is also true. But the other meaning is also that this is the Purana of the devotees of the Lord. The devotee in every single pastime of Srimad Bhagavatam, every single, just look at every pastime, devotees of the Lord are simply being glorified to an extremely wonderful extent. And in this whole pastime that we will read, this whole Leela of the Lord, Bali Maharaj is going to be glorified. He is a pure devotee of the Lord, and we will see various wonderful aspects of his devotion, and we will try to learn from them. So I just have some pictures. Okay, so we'll come to the pictures later, so I will stop the sharing, and we will discuss the pastime. So this whole episode or Leela or pastime of Bali Maharaj is covered in 9 chapters, 15 to 23 in the 8th canto. So very long pastime, and we will spend a couple of weeks at least, or maybe 4-5 weeks, how many ever weeks it takes to go in detail through this pastime. So last week I had covered a summary of the entire pastime, where Bali Maharaj basically has defeated the demigods or devatas headed by Indra, and they have all gone into hiding, and Bali Maharaj has occupied the throne, and he is ruling over the 3 worlds. 3 worlds means the upper planetary systems, the middle planetary systems, and the lower planetary systems. So, and then the demigods or devatas, they go to Lord Vishnu for help. And then Lord Vishnu incarnates as Vāmanadeva, and he defeats, in a certain sense, defeats Bali Maharaj, or basically gets back the planetary systems from the control of Bali Maharaj and gives it to Indra. And Bali Maharaj is then glorified by Lord Vāmanadeva for his tolerance and for his surrender. And that is where we will see the sweetness of Bali Maharaj. We will see it throughout the pastime, but towards the end, we will see the great sweetness of Bali Maharaj, to the extent, so Vāmanadeva says to Bali Maharaj, you should go and reside in this Sutala planet. And in the Sutala planet, you reside with my greatest devotee, which is Prahlad Maharaj, who is his grandfather. Prahlad Maharaj's son's name was Virochana, and Virochana's son is Bali Maharaj. So you go and reside with my great devotee Prahlad, and I will personally be your doorkeeper. So Lord Vishnu or Lord Vāmanadeva is saying that I will be your doorkeeper. So here Bali Maharaj was trying to get the throne of Indra, and he got something much, much greater because he is a great devotee. So it looks like, so there are just tremendous amounts of learning in this whole Leela, that it seems that the Lord is taking away things from a devotee, material things, and that is true. When there is, in Bali Maharaj, there was a small tinge of pride, ahankar, that I am the owner or the ruler of the 3 worlds. And these 3 steps of land, these 3 small steps, baby steps, Vāmanadeva was a small boy, baby steps of 3 steps of land I can easily give. He, in fact, challenged Vāmanadeva to ask for more. But the Lord made him realize that nothing belongs to him. Not even 3 steps of land belong to him. He could only give 2 steps of land, not even 3. So the great learning that we have is that nothing is ours. Whatever we may claim is actually not ours. It belongs to the Lord. And for his pure devotees like Bali Maharaj, when they get, by chance, if they get such a feeling that anything is theirs, the Lord then takes it away. He takes it away in a very sweet way to make the pure devotees' devotion very fixed and very strong. Now, those devotees who are not able to tolerate, so this is the second aspect. Vāmanadeva, I'm going all over the place. I'm kind of off script right now. I have my script here ready on my iPad, but I'm completely off script. But anyway, this is the nature of Srimad Bhagavatam. It's just so sweet. Lord Vāmanadeva tremendously glorifies Bali Maharaj's tolerance, that even though everything that he owned was taken away from him, he was unmoved, completely unmoved, just like Ambarish Maharaj was completely unmoved when the demon attacked him, the demon created by Durvasa Muni. In the same way, Bali Maharaj was completely unmoved and he surrendered himself to Lord Vāmanadeva. So Lord Vāmanadeva glorifies this, and the Lord only takes away from the devotees when he knows that the devotee can tolerate and they have the strength to tolerate. So one should not get discouraged in devotional service that if I perform devotional service, everything will be taken away. No, this only happens in case of devotees who are very pure, who are very advanced, and anything being taken away is simply like a wake up call that you have slept too long, and who doesn't want to be woken up? If there is an important mission, if you have to catch a flight and you keep sleeping and I wake you up, will you get angry at me? No, you will say, thank you. Thank you for waking me up. Otherwise, I would have kept sleeping. So the pure devotees never get afflicted or never feel cheated or never feel disappointed when the Lord corrects them. They are in fact very, very, very thankful. And so this is another great quality of Bali Maharaj that is demonstrated. And we will discuss these as we go along the chapters. But again, as I said, I'm kind of off script. But then the most beautiful part occurs when Vāmanadeva says, I will be your personal doorkeeper. Even though you have to go and sit or reside in the Sutala planet, which is one of the lower planets, the effects of the demoniac planet, or of this hellish planet, so to say, hellish planet, hellish because there are demons, but there are the good demons in that planet. I will protect you from any bad effects. I will be the filter. You emanate devotion over there in the hellish planet. So devotion will go out, but any bad effects will not come in to you. And I will be your personal doorkeeper. What a great benediction Bali Maharaj gets. And finally, Lord Vāmanadeva says that right now you had this pride in you. That's why it was taken away by spending this long time in association of my greatest devotee, Prahlad Maharaj, and with me, all your pride will go away. And then when the pride goes away, then you will become the Indra through the proper means. So in the next Manvantara, the current Manvantara, whoever is Indra gets back the throne of Indra when Bali Maharaj is removed. But in the next Manvantara, which is yet to come, Bali Maharaj, who is right now in the Sutala planet, will occupy the position of Indra. So he will get that opulence, but by that time he would have completely been cleansed of his propensity of pride, and he will not consider that opulence to be, he will not have that sense or mood of proprietorship. So when devotees do not have the sense of proprietorship, then the Lord gives them everything, because they know that they will not misuse it. So do any of you have examples of devotees who got opulence because the Lord gave them opulence, knowing that they will not misuse it? Anyone? Some very famous examples are there.
Sudama.
Yes, exactly. Sudama Brahman. That's the number one example. And he he got all the opulence, but he was because the Lord was very sure that Sudama's heart is very pure and he will never misuse it. Any other example?
Amrish Maharaj and Prahlad Maharaj.
Amrish Maharaj, Prahlad Maharaj, yes, very nice examples. Also Dhruva Maharaj, and so many other examples are there. In the pastimes of Lord Krishna, there is that fruit seller who gave some fruits to Lord Krishna, and Lord Krishna gave her a basket full of jewels, and she just went and just threw away those jewels in the river. She says, I don't have any use for these jewels. I just want to keep coming and seeing Krishna every day by giving him some fruits. So all these examples are there, and the most wonderful example is Srila Prabhupada. So we just had his 125th appearance day anniversary, and Srila Prabhupada was, had so many had so much name, fame. He was the Acharya and very famous, the whole Hare Krishna movement and all that, but he did not, become even one, there was not even one tinge of pride in his heart because of that. And he said that, Krishna is simply testing me. Before he came to the West, he tried a lot to establish some kind of, the League of Devotees or this or that in India, and nothing worked. And even before that, he had a business that failed. His wife was not very favorable towards his taking, this kind of a step and all that. So he left all that. So Srila Prabhupada very famously said, first Lord Krishna tested me by taking away everything. Then Lord Krishna is testing me by giving me everything. And we can all say very proudly that our most dear Srila Prabhupada passed both those tests flawlessly. So Srila Prabhupada is another prime example of this. Okay, so with that sort of a long, sort of a off-script summary, I was intending to give a summary of the pastime of Bali Maharaj, pastime and Vāmanadeva, but we will go to the detailed version, and where I hope to have some more interaction and more sort of a dialogue, two-way dialogue. So the episode starts in Canto 8, Chapter 15 with Bali Maharaj, and in some of the previous chapters of Canto 8, it has been described. So in the previous chapters, the Samudra manthan has been described. And there also, unfortunately, the demons try to first cheat the demigods by sitting in the demons' category. And then the Lord appears, first of all, as Kurma avatar, so that the Samudra Manthan could occur, then as Dhanvantari, and then finally as Mohini Murti, to distribute the nectar that came out from the churning of the ocean or the Samudra Manthan. And then there was this big battle between the demons and the demigods. The demons get defeated. And then again, there was another battle. So there are these various battles that occur between the demons and the demigods. And in one of them, Bali Maharaj gets killed, actually. He dies. But he is revived by Shukracharya. So Shukracharya is able to bring him back to life. Or he was almost dead, or he was fully dead. I don't know. I need to probably look at the Sanskrit of the verses to see what exactly is said. And maybe I will not understand it. But in any case, Shukracharya brings him back to life. And so Sukadeva Gosvami, at that point, Parikshit. So then, this whole episode begins in that way, where Bali Maharaj is very dedicated to his guru, Shukracharya, and all the other Brahmanas that Shukracharya is leading, who brought him back to life. And he is very indebted to his guru. So the chapter starts with Parikshit Maharaj asking Sukadeva Goswami two questions. The first question is, why did the Lord become a beggar? So the exact question is, why did he beg 3 paces of land? Why did he beg from Bali Maharaj? But the Acharyas explain that the essence of the question is, why did the Lord become a beggar? So we see that in Srimad Bhagavatam, the Lord is taking, so the learning from this, why did Parikshit Maharaj ask this question? Because he's surprised that the Lord is taking an inferior position. Typically in all the other Puranas, in everywhere, the Lord is glorified. But in Srimad Bhagavatam, the Lord always takes an inferior position. The devotee is glorified. Just like we read the pastime of Ambarish Maharaj. Now, let me ask you, how in the pastime of Ambarish Maharaj is the Lord's position being shown as inferior? Anyone?
He says, Aham Bhakta Paradhina.
Okay, can you say something more? So what is the inferiority there?
He says that I can, he told Durvasa Muni that I cannot do anything about this. Only Ambarish Maharaj can solve this situation.
Exactly, very correct. 100%. That he says that I am powerless. I am adhina. So the Lord is the supreme. But in that pastime, he says, I am adhina. I am powerless. So he is taking an inferior position. Here also, he is taking the position of a beggar. He goes and begs from Bali Maharaj. In another pastime, he takes the avatar of a pig or a hog, which is known as Varaha avatar. A pig or a hog is not a very glorious animal. It is just a very low class animal. So he takes the avatar of a pig or a hog. In another case, he takes the avatar of a tortoise, not the one who is even churning the ocean, but just below the mountain, he is just supporting the whole thing. So he is kind of invisible. The whole mountain is sitting on his back. So he is trying to serve the demigods and the demons by just being a supporting structure. And then he also takes the avatar of Matsya, the fish. Fish is not a very important or a prominent animal either. So first of all, he takes all these animal avatars. He becomes animal. And then all these low kind of animals. Now here he's appearing as a Brahman boy, as a human Brahman boy. And that too, he goes as a beggar. So that is the significance of the first question, that why did he beg? The Supreme Lord has to beg. And then was the other question. The next question is that when Bali Maharaj gave everything, whatever he was asked, whatever Vāmanadeva asked from Bali Maharaj, he asked for 3 steps and he got 3 steps. He got the 2 steps from the upper and lower planetary systems, and the 3rd step as the surrender of Bali Maharaj, his head or his Atma Nivedanam, his entire self was surrendered to Vāmanadeva. Why did Vāmanadeva arrest him? So the question, the deeper question is, why did the Lord take away everything? Why did he not right then give it back? That because Bali Maharaj is such a great devotee, why did he have to take away everything? And arrest means a very significant part is there in arrest. It is not just a matter of arrest. It is a matter of humiliation. Bali Maharaj was humiliated. You will see there that Prahlad Maharaj comes, his grandfather. He says, yeah, my grandson did not behave very properly. He tells Vāmanadeva, you have done the right thing by arresting him and by taking away everything. So, you can all understand, if you commit a mistake, you would rather have it be confidential. If other people are advertised about your mistake, that is the hardest part, isn't it? They say that praise in public and criticize in private. So whenever some senior authority has to criticize someone, it should be done in private, not in public. But here, this arrest of Bali Maharaj was done very publicly. And even Prahlad Maharaj, who loves Bali Maharaj very much, came to know that my grandson has been arrested. And also not only Prahlad Maharaj, but his wife. I forget the name of his wife. It comes later. Maybe somebody can tell me in the pastime. But Bali Maharaj's wife also comes. And she also takes the side of Vāmanadeva, saying that you have done the right thing. My husband was a little out of line. He did not do the right thing. So he was very humiliated. So the question is that Parikshit Maharaj is asking, why was my husband, why was Bali Maharaj arrested or humiliated so publicly? And the answer, which is going to be evident in the future chapters, not right now, is because the Lord is trying to demonstrate how his pure devotees behave. When the Lord chastises, when God is chastising his devotee, the devotee takes no offense at all. The devotee is in fact very happy when the Lord is chastising, because that is the Lord's mercy, that is the Lord's prasad. When one receives the chastisement of when the devotee, pure devotee, receives the chastisement of the supreme beloved Lord. So to demonstrate that the Lord did all this. So that is the answer to those two questions in general, but we will go further in the pastime. All right. So then Sukadeva Goswami begins answering these questions through these several chapters. So those were the fundamental questions that Parikshit Maharaj asked that started the whole pastime of Bali Maharaj's and Vāmanadeva's Leela, or his pastime. So Sukadeva Goswami starts the narration. This is from text number 3 onwards. So Bali Maharaj had almost died in the battle, or he had died in the battle, and Shukracharya brought him back to life. And because of that, Bali Maharaj became a very, very dedicated disciple of his Guru, Shukracharya, and began to serve him with great faith, with everything that he had. So the learning from here is that serving the Guru is very, very important. And the learning, and in the purport by Srila Prabhupada, I think in this purport or a later purport, Srila Prabhupada says, actually it comes later, when Indra asks Brihaspati, which is Indra's Guru, the Guru of the Devatas, that where did Bali Maharaj get his power? Then Brihaspati answers, this is not Bali Maharaj's own power, this is the power of his Guru Jana, his Guru Janas, the Brahmanas, especially Shukracharya, who is a descendant of Bhrigu. So service to Guru provides great benefits. And in this particular context, our current context, service to Guru provides great benefits spiritually. If one needs to make serious spiritual progress, Guru Nishtha, strong faith and strong service to Guru goes a very, very long way in one's spiritual progress. So that is the lesson to be learned from this. So Bali Maharaj began to serve his Guru Shukracharya with great faith and respect. And then Bali Maharaj is a demon. He is from the demon dynasty, not because of birth, but because of his propensity being demoniac. His propensity is to go and capture recapture sort of the various planets. So that is his propensity as a demon, and it is the natural propensity. And so he goes to Shukracharya and expresses his desire to capture the heavenly planets. And Shukracharya and the other Brahmanas, they engage him in performing a big elaborate sacrifice known as the Vishvajeet Yajna. So Vishvajeet means the one that can conquer all the 3 worlds. So this shows that even a demon who is a pure devotee, it's not like Bali Maharaj becomes a pure devotee later. He is already a pure devotee, but in this particular context, he is just going with his natural propensity. Krishna consciousness and following one's own natural propensity do not go against each other. This we have studied in Bhagavad Gita, and in the deepest form, it is evident in the 18th chapter. Before the final conclusion of 18th chapter comes, for those who have done or are doing the Bhagavad Gita class, will see that in the 18th chapter, this is part is covered very strongly or very nicely. So because of that, he has this natural propensity to win back the heavenly planets, and Shukracharya and others engage him in this Vishvajeet Yajna. So let me share the screen. So this Yajna, there is a nice picture by the devotees who are, good artists. And so this Vishvajeet Yajna picture is shown here, and a sacrifice is being done. And in the next few verses, the sacrifice is being described. So in that sacrifice, a celestial chariot covered with gold and silk appears, and very strong yellow golden color horses appear, and a flag. The chariot has a flag with a lion on it. So a celestial chariot appears, in which Bali Maharaj will go to Indra Loka, to Svarga Loka, to attack Indra. And then, yes. Okay. And then he also gets lots of arrows and other weapons and armor. You can see here in the picture that is being shared, he gets an arrow, a quiver of arrows, the shield, and all these other things that are given to him. And then on the left-hand side on this picture, you can see Shukracharya. Shukracharya, his guru, gives him a conch shell, because in the battle you need conch shell. If you remember in Bhagavad Gita discussion chapter 1, there are so many conch shells that are described before the battle. The conch shells are blown. So conch shell is a very important ingredient for a battle. So they are all preparing him for that. So they gave him a battle. And also on the right hand side, any guesses who is this person on the right hand side?
Prahlad Maharaj.
Very good, Prahlad Maharaj. So Prahlad Maharaj, his grandfather, also comes, and he gives him a garland. So you can see this garland here, which he's wearing. And this is a celestial garland that never fades. It never becomes dry. So he gave him a garland. So like that, he got all these gifts from the performance of the yajna. And he then finally adorns all those gifts, all those things that he has received. He pays his obeisances or dandavat pranam to all the brahmanas, to his grandfather Prahlad Maharaj, etc. And then he goes and sits on that chariot that was given, and he is shining like a celestial fire. Bali Maharaj is just glowing with all these things that he has received. And then he collects his army and he marches towards Indra Loka or Svarga Loka to attack Indra. So then he is going towards Svarga Loka or Indra Loka. So there's this another beautiful picture which is sort of showing the army of Bali Maharaj going towards Svarga Loka, and that you can see that sort of castle over there in the background, that is Indra Loka. So in the next 8 verses, the description of Indra Loka is given. So whoever is interested to understand what is Indra Loka. Now there are many descriptions in 10th canto of Goloka Vrindavan, which is in the spiritual world. So that is given, but here the description of Indra Loka, one of the few places in Srimad Bhagavatam where a very detailed description of Indra Loka is given. So you will see all the wonderful opulence of Indra Loka. It's like, probably, I was being reminded of this. I like this Star Wars movie very much when I was younger, and even my children watched when they were younger. And there, what is the name of that main planet? Anybody remembers? Where the Senate and all that is very opulent, and all these big huge buildings with so many aeroplanes or all these spaceships. Maybe somebody can tell me the name of that. I forget, but anyway, we are not discussing Star Wars, we are discussing Srimad Bhagavatam. So very opulent, very, very opulent description of the heavens or the Svarga Loka is given. So I'll describe it briefly from the description in the Srimad Bhagavatam, that the Svarga Loka was full of beautiful gardens and beautiful orchards. The flowers and the leaves and the fruits were so heavy that all the branches were bent because the flowers were so big and the fruits and everything was so big in the Svarga Loka, and there were constantly the chirping of birds and singing of the bees and all that. And then, of course, there are the beautiful women, the Apsaras, and not only the Apsaras, but the wives of the demigods, who are, playing in the gardens, and the demigods are also there who are protecting the women. There are beautiful ponds with ducks, swans, and all the other wonderful birds. And then there is, lakes and trenches full of Akash Ganga river, the Akash Ganga river is flowing through the heavenly planet, through the Svarga Loka. And the doors and gates are made of gold and marble. And the whole city of Svarga has been constructed by Vishwakarma. Vishwakarma is the engineer, the chief engineer who constructs all the planetary systems. So he is the one who has beautifully constructed Svargaloka. The city has very beautiful courtyards, very beautiful roads, wide roads, and millions of aeroplanes. Everybody has their own private aeroplane. Wherever they want to go from one place to another, they sit in their aeroplane or Viman and go from one place to the other. And there are various seats in the aeroplanes, and even in the palaces made of diamonds and other precious jewels. And then there are these Apsaras who are very, very beautiful, very nicely dressed with glittering jewels, glittering garments, glittering ornaments. They are like, and they are dancing, and it's like flames of fire that are dancing. When fire is burning very strongly, then in the fire flames, they dance. And the beautiful Apsaras are looking like that. And there is wonderful breeze flowing, and there is wind or breeze that is flowing, and the fragrance is that of a very beautiful, very, very beautiful fragrance called Aguru. Fragrance is all over in the heavenly planet, Aguru. Now, anybody remembers where else have we read about this Aguru fragrance? Anybody knows?
Krishna's body.
Huh?
On Krishna's body, it's anointed.
On Krishna's body. Okay. Where else? There is one more place where this is very prominently described.
Is it when the Kumaras go and when Lord Krishna approaches him? Is
Not
it that
sure about that.
Hare Krishna.
they smell the...
Yes, Bhaktiras Mataji.
I didn't hear the full part, but whatever I heard, were you asking about the Aguru perfume where it was prominent?
Yes, Mataji.
Yeah, Putana's when she was killed by Lord Krishna.
Yes, Mataji. That is what I was also referring to. Thank you. That is very correct.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. Thank you. So in the 6th chapter, in the 10th canto, also this Aguru incense is mentioned in verse number 34 of the 6th chapter. So this is almost the beginning of 10th canto. And there, Putana episode is described. So in the last few classes, we had discussed the first 4 chapters or 3.5 chapters on the appearance of Lord Krishna. And then a little bit after that, there is the Putana episode, because that's the first demon that Kamsa sends to kill all the newborn babies. So Putana is the first demon, and when she goes, she puts poison in her breasts and starts breastfeeding the babies to kill them. But when she gets to Lord Krishna obviously does not get killed by the poison, but he sucks the life out of Putana. But because Lord Krishna killed Putana by sucking the life out of her, she gets a very, very elevated position in the spiritual world, the position of a mother. So, and Lord Krishna very sweetly accepts the milk offered by Putana. But in addition to the milk, Lord Krishna sucks the life also from Putana. And then when Putana dies, the residents of Vrindavan, they come afterwards, like in all the, I have used to see these Hindi Bollywood movies, once the hero has done his job, then the police comes later afterwards to see, oh, what has happened, and all the victory has already been achieved by the hero. So Lord Krishna is our hero. And when the residents of Vrindavan arrive, they see this big demon who is lying dead. So then they burn the body. They do the last rites, the rites of the body by cremating the body. And a very beautiful smell comes out of the body. They are all wondering, we have never ever had such a beautiful fragrance from a dead body. And that was because Putana's body was completely purified. Even though the body was of a demon, it was completely purified because of being killed by Lord Shri Krishna. And this beautiful fragrance came out of the burning of the dead body. Typically, if you burn a dead body, it's very stinky smell. But that incense was the same Aguru incense, which is the incense of the heavenly planets. So this is the incense that was present all over the place in the heavenly planet. And the whole city was very, very beautifully decorated. And they were, like I said, all I gave a description of various aeroplanes and apsaras and ponds and birds and all those things. And there was constant singing and dancing going around everywhere in Svarga Loka, with the Gandharvas and the Charanas playing musical instruments and dancing, mridangas and veena, and all those things were being played. So all this is being described in the Srimad Bhagavatam. So we have covered 7 verses so far. I said there are 8 verses in the Srimad Bhagavatam's description of Svarga Loka. The 8th verse is talking about the quality of the people in Svarga Loka. So I want to show that verse. That's a very, very beautiful verse, very instructive. So that is the 22nd verse of Srimad Bhagavatam. So Srimad Bhagavatam, chapter 15. So this is 16. We'll just go to the previous chapter. Oops. We'll just go here. Chapter 15 and verse number 22. The quality of the people in the heavenly planets. So this verse is very important and very instructive. So here the verse says, Yamna vrajanti adharmishtha ala bhuta drudha shathaha maninah kamino lubdha ebhir hina vrajanti yat. So here several qualities are being described of the people. This Svarga Loka, in this Svarga Loka, nobody was sinful, envious, violent toward other living entities, cunning, falsely proud, lusty, or greedy. They could not, if anybody had these qualities, they could not enter Svarga. The people who lived there were devoid of all these faults. So all these faults are being described. They were not adharma. There was no adharma in the people. So they were all dharmic. Now here, this dharma that is being described is the material dharma. This is the dharma that is belonging to the material aspects of the Vedas. These are the dharmas of the principles or the mode of goodness, the satguna. This is not bhakti. This is not the dharma of or the transcendental dharma that goes beyond the material modes. So this dharma is limited to mode of goodness. And what are those aspects? Khala. Khala means like we see, there's also this word in Hindi, khala. Khalnayak means the chief villain. So khala means there is nobody who is a villain. Then bhuta drudha. Bhutadruha means one who is violent or one who aggresses over other living entities. Shatha means one who cheats. Maninaha, one who is very proud. He has lot of man and abhiman. Kamino, very lusty, has strong desires to fulfill those desires. He does not hesitate to harm others. And lubdha means very greedy. So all these qualities, when one is devoid, it means one is in the mode of goodness, one is in the satguna, and such people can enter heaven. So these are the qualifications needed to go to Svarga. These are, if you can see, also the qualifications which are insufficient to go to the spiritual world. By doing all these things, by being a good person, does not entitle you to go into the spiritual world. In the Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna says that by being a good person, it is not enough to go to the spiritual world or come to me. Only by being a devotee, you can come to me. And that he says in the 11th chapter, last 3 verses, 53, 54, 55. Maybe we can quickly see those. Library, Bhagavad Gita, chapter 11, and last 3 verses. In fact, 53rd verse is very important, where Lord Krishna says that this form that you are seeing, this 4-armed form and the 2-armed form, cannot be understood simply by studying the Vedas or by undergoing serious penances, nor by charity, nor by worship. All these things are insufficient to see the Supreme Lord. My dear Arjuna, only by undivided devotional service can I be understood as I am standing before you. So if you see here, there is no devotion, there is no bhakti involved in any of these qualities. These are simply the qualities in the mode of goodness. And if you be a really, 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 really good person having these qualities, you can go to heaven. These are called what is known as pious activities. In the Bhagavad Gita discussions these days, we are going through a deep discussion of what is pious activities. And Nishkama Karma Yoga and law of karma. You do pious activities, you get pious results. If you do very, very, very pious activities, the result is you can go to heaven. And that is being described here, that those people who can enter heaven are the ones who have all these pious qualities. This is the meaning, or this is the entry ticket into heaven, not into Vaikuntha or Goloka Vrindavan, to spiritual world. Okay, so I wanted to use this. This is the very clearly being described in the Srimad Bhagavatam and very 100% consistent with the descriptions given in Bhagavad Gita. Okay, then we will continue. We'll pick up speed now. So Bali Maharaj, reached the abode or Indra Loka. So here we see this whole thing, this next picture. This is another picture by BBT or by devotees. We see this whole army over here in the background, and Indra is looking at this army. Oh my God, what is this army that has come to my doorstep? It is going to attack us. So Bali Maharaj, when he reached outside the palace of Indra, he became very afraid. And all the conch shells were sounded and the attack was being ready. And Indra and his wife and all the other demigods became very, very afraid. So Indra, being a good person, we just saw what are the qualifications of people in Svarga. So Indra also was a very good person. And he approached his guru because he did not know what happened, why I am being attacked. He approaches his spiritual master or guru, Brihaspati, and he says that Bali Maharaj is attacking Svargaloka with a huge army, such a huge army I have never seen before. And he looks so powerful and so enthusiastic. And, it feels like this time we will be defeated. So he asks, what is the cause of the strength of Bali Maharaj? How has he become so strong? Can you please tell me what happened? I thought we had defeated him. Then Bhrigu Muni replies to Indra, saying that this is not his own power. This power is coming from his Guru because of his Guru Nishtha. He is so faithful and he has served his Guru so nicely, Shukracharya and the other Brahmanas and the descendants of Bhrigu, that they have endowed this extraordinary power on Bali Maharaj. So here is where Srila Prabhupada in this purport very nicely describes that. So this is, if you want to read, purport is to verse number 28. He describes the strength one can get from a guru. In this case, the strength that Bali Maharaj got was physical strength. Big army, chariot, weapons, all those things. But in our context, the strength that we get from the Guru is spiritual strength. And with that strength, in this context of Bali Maharaj, he is going to easily defeat Indra. Indra is at the top of sort of the material creation. He is the king of heaven. So every material opulence is available to him. So similarly, with the power, with the strength of Guru, we can defeat every material attack on our bhakti. When we take strong shelter of Guru, we serve the Guru and we follow his instructions, Maya or material attachments and material attacks cannot affect a devotee. So this is what Srila Prabhupada has very nicely described in the purport. So our job or our instruction is to serve the Guru, not to get physical strength, but to get spiritual strength. The purpose is the same, to defeat Maya. In this case, the purpose was to defeat Indra, but in our case, the purpose is to defeat Maya. So that is the instruction from that particular point. So then Brihaspati tells Indra, you know what, my dear disciple, this time you cannot win. Only you cannot defeat him. Only Lord Vishnu can defeat Bali Maharaj. He has become very, very powerful because of the strength of his Guru. And you cannot, you better run away. So you go into hiding, you go into exile, make up a different, change your appearance. The demigods can change their appearance. So he says you should all, change your appearance and run away and wait for a better time till the Lord comes and defeats Bali Maharaj. Then you can come back and gain or, restore your authority on the throne of Svargalok. So then yeah, and then he says, he even provides a prediction that there will be a time when Bali Maharaj will be defeated by Lord Vishnu and all his strength will be vanquished. So he is trying to give hope to Indra that Bali Maharaj's strength will all be vanquished. But in that point where his strength will be vanquished, Srila Prabhupada and other acharyas have mentioned that Bali Maharaj, being a pure devotee, his physical strength may be vanquished, but his spiritual position will elevate far more, like we discussed in the earlier part of the discussion today. So like this, Brihaspati advises Indra, and Indra and all the other demigods, they accept the words of Brihaspati. They take different forms. They take, they go incognito and they scatter around everywhere in the creation, in the universe, and they hide themselves. And like this, when they go away, then Bali Maharaj has a very easy access to the throne, and he takes control of the throne of Indra and starts ruling on the three worlds. So in this way, simply by a show of strength, there was no battle that occurred. Indra just saw the strength of Bali and he went and took advice from Brihaspati and he ran away. No bloodshed happened, no killing, no fighting, nothing happened. An actual battle did not happen. And Bali Maharaj very easily was able to go and capture the throne. And like this, Bali Maharaj became a very, very good ruler. So he was not like Hiranyakashipu. When he became the ruler, he did not go around and killing the devotees and the sages and the people who were performing the austerities. Hiranyakashipu, on the other hand, when he gained access to the throne of Indra, he went and started killing the devotees and causing a lot of disturbance to the sages. Bali Maharaj did not do that because at heart he was a pure devotee. So he simply ascended on a throne and started ruling in a dharmic way. And to further solidify his position as the ruler of heaven, Shukracharya and others under the guidance, he performed 100 Ashwamedha Yagyas. Because that is the kind of austerity, or that's the kind of sacrifices that need to be made to get to the position of Indra. Even Prithu Maharaj, even in a previous episode of Srimad Bhagavatam, he was performing Ashwamedha Yagyas. And, Indra got very worried. So he came and sort of disturbed or interrupted in the 100th Ashwamedha Yagya. But in this particular case, Bali Maharaj successfully performed all the 100 Ashwamedha Yagyas and his position became completely solidified. And he became a very, very prominent, reputed leader or ruler of the three worlds. So like that, Bali Maharaj started ruling. Now, we go into the next chapter, which is the 16th chapter. And then who is the mother of Indra in this particular case? Those who have read this pastime, anybody knows? She becomes very sad because her son. Yes.
Aditi is the mother of Indra.
Yes, Aditi is the mother of the current Indra. Current Indra, his name is Purandara. And his mother is Aditi and father is Kashyapa Muni. Kashyapa Muni is a progenitor. He's a Prajapati or a progenitor of mankind. So he has been specifically endowed by Lord Brahma to go and create the population. So that is, so Aditi, Mother Aditi is very sad. And she is she's lamenting that my son and all the other demigods have gone into hiding. So she is very sad. So in the meantime, Kashyap Muni is performing very deep tapasya. And so he does not know what has happened. So when he comes back, he sees, so let me stop sharing here because we have gone into the next chapter. So he sees his wife Aditi to be very sad. And he wants to inquire, what happened? Why are you so sad? So, of course, Kashyap Muni is a Prajapati. He is a great sage, but also he is a Grihastha in this particular scenario because he has a wife, he has a child, he has many children, of course, one of them being Indra. And so he inquires, why are you sad? And here we get a very wonderful insight into the duties or the prescribed duties of Grihastha. What are the prescribed duties? Some of the prescribed duties of a Grihastha. So, because Kashyap Muni finds Aditi to be sad, he asks, what have you done wrong? Which principle of Grihastha life have you violated? Okay, and he mentions 4 principles of Grihastha life, which possibly could be violated, because of which she is sad. And then finally, he asks him in the 5th question that, are all your children okay? because now he turns towards her duty as a mother. One of the prominent or the most important sort of characteristics of a mother is the love for her children as a mother. And he asks, are your children okay? So that is the fifth question. But before that, he asks 4 questions as to what are you sad because you could not fulfill the prescribed duty of a wife, of a grihastha, of a chaste and a dharmic wife. So what are those things? So let's see, it's 7:10. We will cover these 4 points and then we will probably stop there. So 4 questions he asks. So first question is that have you done anything inauspicious? Have you come down from the position of goodness? So one of the principles of grihastha is to remain in the mode of goodness, not in the mode of passion, not in the mode of ignorance. And through Bhagavad Gita and in the later chapters of Bhagavad Gita, a great in detail, Lord Krishna has described what are the principles of goodness versus passion versus ignorance. So have you deviated from the principles of goodness? That is the first principle. The second principle is that have you deviated from dharma artha kama process, the varnashrama dharma? That is the second question. Have you deviated from varnashrama system or the principles of dharma artha kama? So varnashrama system is the primary duty for the grihasthas, which helps in gradual upliftment towards spirituality. And dharma artha kama have been mentioned here. Not moksha, because grihastha is not at the level of moksha yet. The third principle, which is very nice, which has been described here by Kashyapa Muni, is have you dishonored any guests? Have you become too attached to your own family members that you ignored guests? You did not properly invite them. You did not properly serve them, and the guests left without being served. So the minimum that one should do to a guest is to offer them some water. That's the minimum that one should do. And if possible, you should do more than that. So he says that, have you not done that? And he says that, a person, a grihastha, who does not even offer a little water to a guest, his home is like the home of a jackal. So have you not properly served guests? And the fourth one is that have you not performed the Vedic sacrifices? Have you not performed, because the Vedic sacrifices, the yajna is like the mouth of Lord Vishnu. So whatever we put in the mouth of Lord Vishnu or in a yajna, the fire is going into the mouth of Lord Vishnu. So have you stopped or have you not performed the yajna that is supposed to be performed, the various sacrificial processes, and have you forgotten to perform those? So like this, he asks the questions, and then finally he asks, are all your children, all your sons doing okay? So then we will continue. Mother Aditi says that, yes, I have not missed any of those things. I have performed all the sacrifices. No guests were ignored. I have not deviated from dharma artha kama, the dharmic varnashram system, and I have not deviated from my mode of goodness, from my sattva guna. But my children are the one who are unhappy, because of which I am unhappy. They have all gone into the forest in exile, and they are living a very austere life. They are used to living very opulent life, staying in a palace with nice beds, nice things to eat, to enjoy music and all the other things. And they are not able to do that. They are living in a forest, living like ordinary, in a incognito, in exile. And that is why I am very sad. And then next time we will cover Kashyapa Muni then gives very wonderful instructions, very beautiful instructions to his wife Aditi, and inspires her to do what is known as a payovrata. A payovrata is a vrata of milk. Basically, it is to do 12 days of intense worship to Lord Vishnu. And the whole process is described in the remaining part of the chapter. But you will see how in devotion, so the vrata does not just mean, taking only milk, or it's not about what you eat or something. It's also about the consciousness. What consciousness you need to have in your mind. A lot of us, we do Ekadashi vrata, but it's all becomes about, oh, I shouldn't eat grain, I shouldn't eat nut or beans. What should I eat? And making all the nice dishes with non-grain things. It all still stays in the domain of sense gratification. This consciousness is still sense gratification. The purpose of Ekadashi Vrata is to focus on God and to take it easy on what you eat and what you, avoid eating, etc. It is like taking a break from the kitchen. But, our propensity is, okay, on Ekadashi, the kitchen becomes even more used. Because we try to cook all these other things made of paneer and this and kutu and whatnot. But the purpose is to focus our consciousness on Krishna. Take a break, eat fruits, milk, they are the Vedic fast foods. So and focus on our consciousness towards God. And that is the process of the Payovrata, which will be very beautifully described by Kashyapa Muni. And we will go through some of those aspects. And Mother Aditi does this Payovrata very, very, very sincerely. And if you remember in the description of Lord Krishna's appearance, Lord Krishna said that this is my third appearance as your son to Devaki and Vasudeva. So this is the first appearance that's going to happen, Aditi and Kashyapa. Then later on, Lord Krishna again appears as Prishni Garbha, as the son of Prishni and Sutapa. And finally, as Lord Krishna himself as the son of Devaki and Vasudeva. So this is that first one where Mother Aditi does great penance for Lord Vishnu, which is quoted by Lord Krishna when he appears, that 3 lifetimes back, you had appeared as Aditi and you did this great penance, and I agreed to be your son 3 times. Vāmanadeva, Prishnigarbha, and Krishna. So that is how we will all connect this whole set of pastimes. We will look at the Payovrata, and then we will see the welcoming. We will we will welcome the appearance of Lord Vāmanadeva, and we will go from there. So I'll stop here and I'll see if there are any questions, any discussions, any devotees have. There is one question on the chat which says that, is it our birth for going to Svarga or getting moksha in our life as human? We should focus on that. Is it our birth for going to Svarga or getting moksha in our human life as life? Is it a question or a comment? I'm not understanding, but our goal is not to go to Svarga. The goal is to go to the spiritual world. The Svarga is still in the material world. Svarga is very much part of the material world, and simply going to Svarga, it is a nice thing, better than going to hell, going to Narka. Better to go to Svarga than to Narka. But that is also temporary. Svarga, once all your pious activities, your being a good person, never aggressing on others, not being lusty, greedy, killing others, all those qualities that we discussed in that verse that we saw, by not doing all those things and being a good person, you can go to Svarga. But once all the punya that you have done gets exhausted, gets used up, one comes back to the material world. So ultimately, it is a very temporary pleasure, a very temporary situation where you can just, enjoy for some time. It's like going to a vacation. The hardest day of the vacation is the last one when you have to leave. You wish that, oh, this was never ending. Now I have to go back to my, place and do more work, earn more money. Why can't this vacation keep going? So like that also, from Svarga, one is going to be kicked out. So what is the point? When you go to the spiritual world, it is permanent, it is eternal, and it is way, way more enjoyable, gives way more happiness to the soul than in Svarga. And it is permanent. So the goal is to go to Svarga, not to go to the spiritual world by attaining moksha, not to go to the Svarga. So I think that was the question, and that's the answer.
So it means spiritual world is moksha.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
Moksha means liberation.
Liberation. That's what I want.
And liberation from what? That is the question.
Liberation
and the answer is
liberation from getting birth every now and then.
Yes, from birth and death. Liberation from the cycle of birth and death.
Birth and death.
Yes.
That's what I mean.
So Indra also dies. And that's why it is given, I described earlier, when this particular Indra, whose name is Purandara, will die. And in the next Manvantara, Bali Maharaj will become the next Indra. So everything is temporary.
So is Bali the same as was in Ramayana, whom Ram defeated?
No. That is Vali. It sounds
Bali.
the same. That is Vali.
Okay.
This is
Bali
Maharaj.
And that's Bali. Okay. Bali.
That is this is Vali, not Ba, but Va. V. Bali. This is Bali.
Okay.
It is a Va. V with a A. Vali.
Yes.
This is Bali. Small A, not big A. Okay.
Thank you.
Yes. Shivani, you have a question?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah, so my question is, in that verse, it was mentioned that in the heavenly planets or in the higher planetary system, there is no lust, greed, and all these qualities are not present over there. But when we see that...
That is the quality to enter heavenly kingdom. Nobody can enter if they have those qualities. Yes.
But once they enter, then these qualities, they develop and like something happens. I don't know what happens.
No,
and
they do not develop, but they slowly and very rarely develop.
But it's like the heavenly planets are meant for enjoyment mostly. Everyone goes there to enjoy certain things, and then when their life credits are finished, they come back. So if enjoyment is there, then lust has to be there, right?
So lust, which means lust at the cost of others, very strong. So there is attachment to enjoyment. Bhoga Aishwarya is there. There is the desire to enjoy. Absolutely. That is absolutely there. But you can enjoy in a dharmic way. Like you earn money through legal ways. You don't go and rob a bank. You don't kill somebody. You work hard. You get the money and then you enjoy. That's the legal way of enjoying. So legal ways of enjoyment are there in the so there is attachment and there is propensity for enjoyment, but it is not at the cost of others. That is the meaning of lust there. Legally, or whatever you are entitled to, you can enjoy. That is not called in the domain of lust in the heavenly kingdom. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Anything else? So, yes. Anybody? Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. So I just wanted to share the screen again. In the last few minutes that we have left, I wanted to bring up the topic very quickly about the appearance day of Shreemati Radharani. Shreemati Radharani is the most kind and most worshipable, the topmost devotee of Lord Shri Krishna. And her appearance is coming up in another 2 days, and it is also on Ashtami, just like Lord Krishna was Janmashtami. On another Ashtami, it is Radha Ashtami. And in the Bhagavad Gita, in chapter 9, there are 2 verses which are describing in a hidden way the nature of Shreemati Radharani. And these verses are 9.13 and 9.14. So I will just go over them. That this is describing the position of Shreemati Radharani. Shreemati Radharani is Daivim Prakritim. She is the divine. Prakriti means energy. I'm going to mute. Okay. She is the divine energy of Lord Shri Krishna. So therefore, she is called Daivim Prakritim. So the instruction for devotees is, or for Mahatmas who are pure devotees in this context, in the context of Bhagavad Gita, Mahatmas are pure devotees. They take shelter of Daivim Prakritim. So Mahatmanas to Mam Partha. Those who are Mahatmas of me, or who are Mahatmas, they take the Mam Daivim Prakritim Ashritaha. They take the Ashraya, they take the shelter of my divine energy, Mam Daivi Prakriti. And this Daivi Prakriti is none other than Shreemati Radharani. Because Shreemati Radharani is the topmost devotee. She is the primary energy of Lord Shri Krishna. She is the Daivim Prakriti. And all devotees are advised to take shelter, Ashraya, Ashritaha of this Daivim Prakriti. And then we can become pure devotees by taking shelter of Shreemati Radharani. And what is her consciousness of this Daivi Prakriti of Shreemati Radharani? Her consciousness is Bhajanti Ananya Manaso. Always with single pointed attention, Ananya Manaso. In her mana, in her mind, Ananya, there is only Krishna. There is nobody else. Ananya means nobody else. So Bhajanti Ananya Desh, she is always doing bhajan of Lord Shri Krishna. Bhajanti Ananya Manaso, Gyatva Bhutadim Avyayam. And she knows that Lord Krishna is my Supreme Lord. She knows that this who I love so much, who I am devoted to, is none other than the Supreme Lord. And the next verse describes what she does. What she does is Satatam Kirtayanto Mam. Always she is doing my Kirtan. Yatantascha Dridhavrataha. And she is engaged in devotional service with a lot of determination. Every day it is said that Shreemati Radharani cooks new dishes, new things to eat for Lord Krishna. Never ever she cooks the same thing again. Have you ever seen a cook who has never repeated anything? And this is in the eternal world where there is no, limit. Eternally, she is preparing new things. She's trying to serve Krishna in new ways. So she is always engaged in a very determined way in serving Lord Krishna. Namasyantascha mam bhaktya nitya yukta upasate. Always she is worshipping her beloved Lord Krishna. She is the topmost bhakta of Lord Krishna. Nitya yukta upasate. Always she is having Lord Krishna in her heart, and always she is dedicated. Her whole existence, her whole self is dedicated to Lord Shri Krishna. And we should take shelter of this person, which is Shreemati Radharani, and beg or ask for her blessings and her mercy, so that we can also become good devotees of Lord Shri Krishna. So that is the significance of Shreemati Radharani. She is the divine energy of Lord Shri Krishna, and we must all take shelter of Shreemati Radharani, which is this one. Mahatmanastu mam partha daivim prakritim ashritaha. We should take the ashraya of Shreemati Radha, and then we can become good devotees. So on Radhashtami, please, think about this, make a plan of how we can become good devotees by taking or seeking the blessings and seeking the mercy of Shreemati Radharani. So that's what I wanted to share. Please, in the temple, in our Portland temple, for those who are from Portland, we are celebrating Radhashtami on Sunday instead of Monday, because devotees have to do a lot of services and all that. So Sunday is already a day of service, so we are celebrating tomorrow. Please come and join in the festival of Radhashtami. So that's what I wanted to say. Thank you so much for being here, giving me a chance to share Srimad Bhagavatam, and in association of everyone. Any last comments? Okay, if not, then happy Radhashtami to everyone, and we'll see you again sometime soon, next week, in Bhagavad Gita class, Bhagavatam class, or one of the many classes that occur. Thank you so much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Hare Krishna.